class and an environmental math class and a physical geology class. They added them into Warrior 10. What happened, and nobody foresaw this, and I was in there and I didn't see it either. Nobody saw that all those classes could now accounted for 2 goal areas instead of 1. So our people in the environment program, I've been watching since 2016, which is when they added those 4 classes. I've been watching the slide. And this semester, I'm the only one teaching on campus. From there being like 9 to 10 faculty teaching. So we don't have any students.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, like a really awesome program, but it's super hard, like to get faculty to work together. Some are really good. Like I say it's 50-50. Some are great, but they don't have the capacity because they have to teach other stuff. And then some just do not like to bend with their ways of doing things. So it's been really interesting. I love it. I love teaching with other people. Yeah, it's super fun. I could do it either way, but. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to, before I am done here, trying to figure out. Oh my God, everybody's just holding down their kingdoms right now.
Did you want to connect?
Yeah. Do you want me to do that now?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you wanted to do something for this.
It's these. So do you have a,
Yeah, I got an HDMI.
oh, you do? Coolio.
That should be good. ACL, or what did you do?
I did, I tore my ACL and my meniscus.
Just this over spring break?
Last weekend.
Baseball?
Yeah,
Dang.
I know.
Running a base or
I
what?
tried jumping over the catcher. when I was going.
Running in for.
Yeah, it
Okay.
didn't work out.
And you really? Did you get it or no?
No, I was out.
You're out. Oh, it's like
Yeah,
a
it's
triple
like-
with me. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I tore my ACL.
Oh, really?
We called volleyball and then. When I was all done playing, then I could play in tournaments for money.
Yeah.
My very first tournament, we're in like the semifinals and it was like. It was called reverse fours, only girls can play in the front row,
Yeah.
guys have to stay in the back row. And I just went up for a block, came down, I mean, I've done it like a million
Right.
bazillion times, but my knees like that. It's good my left.
Yeah.
My left leg. Yeah, are you gonna have it repaired?
Yeah, I have surgery next week. Oh,
Okay,
that's good.
okay, nice, where here?
Yeah.
Okay. I heard there's a pretty good ACL guy.
Yeah, Dr. Corey Wells.
Yeah,
He came in like 2 months ago.
yeah. Oh, that's good. Hey.
Oh, what? Okay. So 5 o'clock, ready to go. Do want to make a few announcements. One, we have Miss Erika Bailey-Johnson here. Let's give her a round of applause for coming in today. Thank you. We have also 2 guests here from Student Senate. We have Sarah, who is the president of Student Senate, and Darby is the vice president of Student Senate. And officially, we now have a vice president of the pre-law club, and that is Bella. So let's give her a round of applause. And yeah, that's about all I have. The floor is yours, Miss Erika.
I am really excited to be here. So if you're not quite sure, I know most of you, but I'm Erika Bailey-Johnson. And I have been on campus since 2004. I was here as a grad student first in environmental studies. Actually was a teacher before that, so I taught for 5 years. I went to University of Minnesota Morris in biology is where I got my undergrad. Played volleyball. And then I was supposed to play softball too there, but yeah, didn't want to do 2 sports was a lot. And then I got a biology degree, I got a teaching licensure, and I taught in Mexico for 2 years, and then I taught in Kuwait in the Middle East for 3 years, and that was where I had 1 unit of environmental science, and I didn't know a whole lot about it with my biology background. I wanted to learn more, so I came back to school after being gone for 5 years. So I came back to Bemidji State, and I got a environmental studies, and I focused on environmental education as my, kind of focus with environmental studies. And then the sustainability stuff started. So I've been in the sustainability director role since 2008 here. And love my work, and I teach a class called People of the Environment. And my connection here is very random, but I'm very excited that Lindsay asked me to be here. Because I've had like a lot of weird like connections that have been happening the past few years. I'd say it's been about the past 5 years with something called the rights of nature. Has anybody heard of the rights of nature at all? No. So, it's this cool, I'm just gonna show you, I'll show you this little video, I've just got a couple really quick ones that I can do, and I think you do. Does it turn all, turn up all the way?
Yeah.
Okay, is that okay if I do that?
Yeah. Pretty good.
So, I'm just gonna show, this one's like a minute or something, minute and a half, and I got another one's about 5 minutes. I think they'll give you a good little, intro about what this, I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear, let me see if you can hear the sound. So there's a way to do the sound.
Sarah.
Cause the HDMI should do the sound, let's see.
Usually it goes through the room.
Yeah, we couldn't get this ginormous monstrosity to work.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, no worries. Well, it sounds like it's not good.
Do you have to like change on your computer the output or anything?
So, but. That's really weird.
Yeah.
Wait, press the little parent button.
By speakers?
Yeah.
I mean, it's on.
Yeah, that might just have to suffice.
Can you guys hear that at all?
Challenges. But a new idea, full of ancient indigenous practice.
Okay.
May provide the earth
It'll be a little quiet.
widespread solutions.
Our minuscule brain cannot see what is the right sophistication of nature. Yet, without needing to understand everything, the world exists.
Can I maybe turn on captions too?
It's not realistic.
What was that?
Yeah, turn on captions.
Unrealistic.
The CC. Oh, unavailable.
My brain stretched back to the man's limits. And I get to be connected to them.
Since the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, humans have viewed nature as a resource from which to extract commodities, fish, energy, minerals, timber. Nature is also seen as a place to dispose of waste, often without considering the impacts it may have on the human condition, whose lives depend on a healthy ecosystem. Today, these environmental challenges continue, but a new idea, pulled from ancient indigenous practice, may provide the earth with a rights-based solution.
You are the child. And that land out there, that earth mother of yours is your parent. No human, no other.
A quick trailer of an actual, like you can just find it on YouTube. The Rights of Nature Global Movement. So there is a like, I don't know how long, it's around an hour. Documentary that if you want to learn more about this specific one. And then I'm just gonna share a little news piece with you too about rights of nature. So you can get a better sense. How are you hearing that? Is it hard to?
It's a little quiet back here.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Maybe if
Even-
you wanna, maybe just move up here for this, the, that's.
Maybe this time try CC the captions. Closed captions. There we go.
This is about a 6-minute news, but this was 2023, so it's pretty recent. So I think that
We've all heard of human rights, civil rights, and women's rights, but what about the rights of nature? A growing global movement to give plants, animals, and entire ecosystems some of the same legal protections that humans have. Panama is one of the only nations in the world with a countrywide rights of nature law, and it was just used to help shut down one of the planet's largest copper mines. Senior national and environmental correspondent Ben Tracy takes us up to the tropics to meet the American woman whose love of turtles made it all happen.
What is this area called?
So this is the Pearl Islands archipelago, 240 islands in the Gulf.
When we asked Callie Muhlenturf to show us one of her favorite places in Panama, she knew exactly where to take us. You're smiling a lot. I assume this is a place you'd like.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite places in the world. I feel home here.
This 31-year-old Massachusetts native and marine biologist has been studying sea turtles for almost a decade.
Who doesn't love sea turtles? I feel like these ancient creatures, the leatherback turtle, for example, has been around for 110 million years.
Muhlenturf is a National Geographic explorer who founded the Leatherback Project, which tracks and protects these giant but endangered species. They're threatened by fishing nets, rising seas eroding their nesting beaches,
But this beach is actually a sea turtle nesting beach.
really, and plastic pollution in which baby turtles get trapped.
There's plastic pollution everywhere.
It's cans, trash, all this stuff. Her mission to protect these creatures took an unexpected turn in 2018, when she took legal action to protect herself from sexual harassment.
And then I realized that we can't defend the rights of nature the way I just defended my rights, because nature largely has no rights within our legal system. I Googled rights of nature. I wasn't sure if it was a thing.
It was, and this book about saving the world by giving nature rights gave her life a new purpose.
I was like, this is a mission of mine. I have to do what I can to advance this concept.
The concept is that, like humans, all living things and ecosystems have the fundamental right to exist and thrive, and that nature's rights, like humans, can be defended in court.
It gives nature the right to representation.
I can hear people right now saying, great, every tree hugger is gonna go out there and file a lawsuit to stop everything they wanna stop.
You know, I think it's important that this concept not become radicalized, because it's based in factual scientific need.
She says it's not about protecting an individual tree, but rather an entire ecosystem like the Amazon rainforest, not saving just one sea turtle, but blocking development that would decimate their overall populations. It's a bolder approach than environmental protections, which limit how much humans can exploit nature instead of granting that nature has a right not to be exploited.
It prioritizes the needs of the ecosystems and not the needs of humanity.
It's a total flip of how we view these things.
Right, it's a paradigm shift. Entonces, esta presentación,
Muhlenturf proposed the idea to Panama's First Lady and members of Parliament.
it was immediately something everybody latched onto. That was so encouraging for me, because it was the opposite of what I was expecting, really.
La ley es la ley.
Congressman Juan Diego Vasquez helped pass the legislation. Panama now joins Ecuador and Bolivia as the only countries in the world that recognize the rights of nature on a national level.
Every Panamanian citizen, every human can use this bill, go to court and make sure that we defend the rights of nature.
Just last week, the country's Supreme Court used the new law to effectively shut down a $10 billion copper mine that opponents said threatened tropical jungles and water supplies.
This will not be a bill that is gonna be left in the cabinet, but it's going to be used when it needs to be.
In Ecuador, another copper mine was blocked because it violated the rights of a nearby forest. A court in India has recognized the rights of the Ganges River, ruling that polluting it is like harming a person. In the US, dozens of local communities in 10 states have some laws recognizing nature's legal rights. Seattle recently recognized the rights of salmon to pass through its dams, Carolina is considering giving rights to the Haw River ecosystem.
Exciting every time, it never gets old.
As she took us out for a swim with the sea turtles,
Hope you'll find turtles.
Albie Winter wants us to see our relationship with nature differently, to realize that we don't coexist with it, but that we are part of it.
What we're doing now is obviously not working. And so this provides a different way of interacting with nature. And I think that we're at a point now where it's worth a shot.
For CBS Saturday Morning, I'm Ben Tracy in Penn.
I love that idea, you know, coexist with it,
Yeah.
you are part of it, and I guess it's also the balance, right? Because if you're closing down those copper mines, but you need copper, where do you go to?
Things,
Right.
the balance.
Yeah,
You're taking the profit though out of it is something I think people are thinking long term, but ultimately we benefit from the health and welfare of ecosystem across the planet, so.
Okay, give you a little better sense for what that means? One more thing I'm gonna show you on here and then as I was digging around, and a lot of this has come from, I mean, most people that know me know that my work, like I always tell people, like I don't really work for BSU, like I work for Mother Earth, so that's my job, will be my whole life until I die and go back to Mother, is to try to figure out how to do better, how to be better humans, how to be better relatives. I am a Red Lake band member, a lot that comes from an indigenous perspective. And so this rights of nature, I've had a lot of people like bringing it up and asking me about it, and then particularly a lot of young people, which I think is really fun that Lindsay, that you kind of asked about this one to speak to it. And there, after I've done a lot of looking, I haven't really found anywhere, I don't think in the US that actually has a rights of nature law degree. And I think that would be, I know there are some lawyers that are doing this work, but it's by like some kind of other route, and there's no specific route for this type of law work. And I think it's gonna be coming. I think it's gonna be needed. And I think it's gonna be pretty, it'd be really cool if Bemidji could be one of those places where you could get a rights of nature law degree. And last spring, I actually went and listened to the Mitchell Hamlin School of Law. They had a presentation at the Minnesota Indian Education Association conference down in the cities, and I went specifically to listen to them speak to their program. And they didn't have really anything specifically to this rights of nature conversation, but I think what could happen is it would be a law degree, and then you could get like an emphasis in something like the rights of nature. I don't really know. I was trying to get a handle. You guys probably know way better than I do about how you even get a law degree, like what the steps are. Like you get your bachelor's and then you take your big scary exam, right? I think. And then you go into like a law school. Yeah, or I'm not sure how exactly that works. I've known a couple of students that have gone on to get law degrees. But my older son, even, he's a sophomore in college. He's at Northern Michigan University. And he's kind of interested, he's just a biology major right now, but he's kind of interested in law too. And ever since he's been little, we've always told him that he'd probably be a really good lawyer. And I was asking a lawyer down in the cities one time about, his interests and how would he get, protect the environment or the earth through a law degree. And he said something really interesting to me. He said, don't get an environmental degree. Don't get an environmental law degree. Does anybody know why that might be? He said, don't go down that route of going down to get something that's called an environmental law degree. That's exactly the opposite of what you want to do if you care about the planet. Does anybody know why? Have any idea? Darby's thinking. Yeah.
You're only ever to only ever able to associate yourself with the environment?
Well, it has a lot to do with who has the money to pay you. The trees,
Oh, the people that are against.
the mining
So the
companies,
businesses.
yeah, the corporations, like, they're the ones that are trying to get away from their penalties. So they hire these lawyers to help them. They hire these environmental lawyers that know a lot about the environment, then to fight for them. So it's like, don't get an environmental law degree, and I thought that was really interesting. So as I've been digging, I'm looking around, this is one really cool site that I found. It's called, it's called Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature. GARN is the acronym, GARN. And it's got a lot of really good stuff on their website. So I was gonna read some of this to you, but it is the recognition that our ecosystems, trees, oceans, animals, mountains have rights, just as human beings have rights. You know, it's about balancing what is good for human beings against what is good for other species, what is good for the planet as a world. Holistic recognition that all life, all ecosystems on our planet are deeply intertwined. So if you had like interest, you could sure go to this site. They have lots of really good resources here. And you know, lots more information about what the rights of nature is. And then I did want to share with you one other piece. So on this GARN site, some of the things that I looked up, they said like Bolivia, New Zealand, Bangladesh, Ecuador, Brazil, Colombia, and Mexico. They're all countries that have issued court decisions, enacted laws, or amended constitutions recognizing the legal rights of nature. Canada, they have given rights to a river, Gesundheit. And also Spain has given rights to the river, so has New Zealand. And locally, the White Earth tribal community has given the rights to Monoman or wild rice.
What does
Yeah.
that mean, giving the rights to a river? What does that like mean?
So from as far as and again, I should have started off this whole thing by saying I'm not an expert. Did I say that? But I just want to like, yeah, no expert. But from what I understand, it means that just as people have rights, just like kind of how she talked in that news clip about like she was able to file a sexual harassment charge as a human being. But like, how does anything else like have a right to say, I am being abused, or I am being mistreated, or like my quality of life is not good because of something someone else is doing, right? So it like gives inherent right to like when they give a right to a river or like to wild rice, for example, it would mean that the wild rice has the ability then to sue something that would harm it. So you could say a mine that might pollute the water, you could say that's not like, that should be stopped because it's harming my right to have a good life, right? So it's not just human beings that have that inherent right, but other things have that inherent right. And I think it was interesting in that one, because I think it is like whether it is a particular species, right? Like wild rice, or whether it's like an ecosystem. I think that's like a kind of interesting. I don't know how they decide that, or I'm sure that's a conversation in each country or place. But did you have that?
I was just saying, so like, then these like lawyers that you're talking about, like, writing nature lawyers would be like the speak for the trees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'd be people, it'd be humans that would be then on the behalf, right, of the wild rice. And I was gonna suggest a couple people, if your group was really interested more in this, there's two people locally. I actually don't know where Michael Lane is at right now. He's married to a New Zealander, so he knows a ton, and he's a jurist, what's it when you're not quite a lawyer, but you're on, like, you're a juris doctorate?
That is, yeah, that's like having a JD degree, but you haven't
JD.
taken the bar exam yet.
Yes, that's, he's a JD, yep. And actually took, I took a class here from him in federal Indian law. And he has been looking, that's the other thing that I brought with me, was he's been looking at this rights of nature versus he called it, are you guys ready? This is such a inherent relationships jurisprudence. And IRJ. And he's saying like the focus for that is not on a rights-based framework, but they're trying to establish it to sit alongside the rights of nature, but it's coming from different places legally and philosophically. So instead of like, what he kind of argues is that the rights of nature is still from like a very much like a human Western kind of like ideology. And that this IRJ, this inherent relationships is more, I found some good thing to try to describe this.
What was his name again?
Michael Lane. Yeah, and he's Indigenous. And he's probably one of the leading people in the world, I would say, like kind of questioning rights of nature work a little bit, because rights of nature is so new as well, you know, to be thinking about this and kind of a growing movement, but he's starting to kind of question its framework, you know, a little bit. And so Michael Lane, and he's with the Indigenous Environmental Network. Yeah, and so he's saying the rights of nature arises from Eurocentric concepts of rights generally, so that things have rights. And this is in contrast to most Indigenous people societies where it is a responsibility framework. So does that make sense? So like, instead of it being a rights framework where everybody like, it's my right to be protected and safe, like it's a responsibility framework where it's like my responsibility to care, right? And to protect and to make sure it's good for the future. And its justice is not based on punishment, where that's typically where our legal system goes, right? Like you break a law and then you get punished. Where this other way he's talking about is based on restoring balanced relationships. So he's really like strong in saying that there's not to say that one is superior to the other. And he talks about something I'd never heard of before when I was looking, you know, when you asked me about this, but he had something called wild law. And this says in Africa, wilderness, or what you call wild law, is the great source of law, not written common law. Traditional law is oral and is passed from one generation to another orally through music, art, dance, drumming, and through the do's and don'ts of the community. Wild law is as old as the earth itself and has been an inherent part of human culture for many, many generations. So I'd never heard of that. I just thought it was really interesting. And I think something that we'll hear more about in the future, but yeah. Is there any questions about any of that stuff? Yeah. Just kind of wanted to, I don't know, share what I've been thinking about and try to explain it.
Yes, I'm intrigued, like, so when you said, like, don't go, or, like, if you go environmental law, there's a chance that the mining companies or businessmen will try to scoop you up. Like, how would you then, like, go with all of that? If you were to be in environmental law?
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
we just
like
have-
if you were more rights of nature, like supporting the trees or the water or whatever. I think that they have a way of like, there's a lot of nonprofits funding that. I'm assuming, again, that'd be a really good question for Michael Lane. The other person, Lindsay, that I was gonna get on your radar is a White Earth, I think he's White Earth. But his name is Frank Bibeau. It's Bibeau. And he's the one who did the rights of Monoman. He actually created that whole, and he knows a lot about rights of nature. So if there is more interest, they have way more knowledge than I do about this topic, and experience. And it'd be kind of cool to talk to both of them about their like law background, because I think it's like, I think they both took kind of like a winding path, but yeah. So.
Is there any place for like other, disciplines in like the rights of nature movement? Like, do they need accountants?
Oh. I'm sure. So what was cool about that GARN, that Global Alliance of Rights of Nature, I think it stood for, they had lots of staff. So I'm sure there's all kinds of like cool organizations like that that'll be coming. Mhm. Yeah, that need good financial people. Yeah, but it's such a cool, cool concept. I think, maybe I'll share just one last thing with you of why I feel like this is really important. So in our, like prophecies of the Ojibwe, like Anishinaabe people, one of the seventh fire prophecy says that we're in a place, and a lot of like the elders say that we're there right now, where we have to make a decision about which path we take. So we either take this path of like, it's all black and charred and like sharp, jaggedy, rocks and stuff where if you walked on it, you can imagine like hurt your feet. And then there's a path that's like soft, green grass. We're kind of in the place now where we're looking down. We're trying to figure out, what's good and what's not, like as our human species moves forward. And one of the things they say is we need to look back first and like learn a lot of the ways that we had relationships in the past and bring that forward. And then the eighth fire, that's the part that gets me really excited, is the eighth fire actually says that there's going to be a whole new type of people. And these new people that are like coming can see a lot better and more clearly. And I think that new type of people is your generation. Because you've been raised completely differently than all of us. And you have a very different way of interacting with each other, through all like social media and phones and all that kind of stuff. And you have a totally different way of building consensus and understanding like our responsibility to each other, to the earth. I think it's like, yeah. I think a lot of you are probably just like waiting for like all of us old people to be done to die. But I feel like a big responsibility, like my role actually is to uplift you all, so, and help you along on that path. And so I think that's one reason I'm really happy to be here and excited to just talk about this, because I feel like this is one of those ways where our like global society, for better or worse, especially in the United States, is built on, tort law and all these ways of defending things that we've built. And so whether or not we change that system, that'll take a lot of time, but for now, I think that rights in nature makes a lot of sense for making, thinking more deeply about our actions. Yeah.
Are you thinking about going to law school?
No.
You
No, I don't
could.
think so. But I have been thinking about, getting like a fellowship or something. And actually going to those countries that have really strong rights in nature programs. Cause like New Zealand, they're really, they've been doing a lot. Like they granted their major river in their community. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the Mississippi would be. And they granted the rights to the river. And so you gotta watch, you'd have to watch all the things that you do that would put anything into that water, like your agriculture practices, right? Like your salt you put on the roads, like all the stuff that would maybe contaminate that water. It'd have a very different like meaning, So New Zealand is one of the places, and Ecuador is another one where they actually put the rights of nature in their constitution. So Yeah, so just to learn more about how that came to be. And, yeah, and how the US can move more in that direction, I think is really important. So what are you guys all looking at doing? Like, what kind of law are you interested in?
Family law.
Family law? Nice, that's cool.
Darby?
Yeah, I'm not really sure yet. I know that I'm interested in what I was for.
Okay,
Yeah.
how many types of law degrees are, I don't even know, how many types of law degrees are there?
Oh.
There's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
It also depends on if you go criminal or civil too.
Yeah.
There's a ton of civil law. but
Okay.
like Criminal law is pretty much,
yeah. I think it's interesting when you say family, like I already think of like, I think of this stuff, you know, too, like the whole, right? The wholeness of that, a family, like what do you include in family? Is it only human family?
Yeah.
Or is
I
it
think
like,
so.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is, I'm just like, yeah, questioning, you know,
Oh.
cause I think about it more broadly,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I wonder if that one could extend more broadly, you know, family. What are you interested in?
I'm thinking maybe injury law
Okay,
or corporate, I'd like to do too.
okay, yeah. Injuries like when you get in an accident and stuff, are those advertisements?
Yeah,
you
like-
See all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you tear your ACL at the
Right.
baseball game.
Yeah.
Cool, well, Lindsay, that's all I got. Hopefully that was helpful, or I don't know what you guys wanted exactly, but
Yeah.
give you a little bit of, yeah. A little bit to think about. Yeah. Thanks for asking me again, appreciate coming in. And again, if you want any contacts with, even any other lawyers, but I'm sure like, Pat would have a ton of connections.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also, there's a lawyer down in the city that I've worked with like on some stuff. It's just like a civil lawyer. I can make connections out with you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
have a good rest of your day, everybody.
You too.
Yeah, I'm glad you started this up. Thanks for putting in the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See ya.
See you.
Julio. Okay. I don't know why I keep saying it. That's just what I'm feeling, I guess. Yeah, so what do we have here? I have an email from Darby. Okay. So yeah. What did everybody think?
I never heard that before. so-
Yeah, new to me too. Erica was pretty excited to come in and talk about it, so wanted to give her that. Guess I'll just go and did somebody? Oh, okay, I thought somebody was gonna say something. I'll just also go into what's coming up. As far as the calendar goes. Let me pull this up. Oh yeah, and I did apply for that fee waiver and I was denied. I was kind of mad about that.
I know my friend Tori, she was getting denied a lot too, but she kept like reapplying and adding like more stuff, like. They had a big hospital bill that the insurance, like it hasn't gone through yet, so like, she had a big bill, and she turned that in and she got it. I know things like that.
Alrighty. So on the next meeting, March 25th, Ben Hoffman is gonna be coming in. And I think Pat said that he was an attorney, but I talked to him and he said that he is not an attorney. He said that he wanted to clarify that he's not an attorney. However, he was the director of admissions for 15 years at the University of North Dakota School of Law, and that he's also worked closely with the North Dakota Board of Law Examiners in administering the bar exam for the past 18 years. I know the law school admissions process very well and the academic programming and structure of law schools. So I still think he would be great to have come in and talk to us. Yeah. So he's gonna come in to our next meeting, like I said, March 25th. And then also I got in contact with Jim Kroger from Miss Sarah. Introduced me to him. He is a professor on campus, but he's not teaching any classes right now. So he's like a adjunct professor, I think, or something like that. What did you say, Sarah, about him?
But then he's also a lawyer. That business stuff. So he has like the really like kind of like business, like you taught my business law class, so on the business lines.
Yeah, so I'm excited. He's gonna come in. He lives kind of far away, but he said he's gonna make the drive up on April 8th, to come in and talk to us. And then on April 22nd, I invited Robert F. I don't know how to say his last name, so I'm just gonna say Robert F. He's gonna come in and talk to us as well. I know he's from the Criminal Justice Department. I don't really know much about him, but it should be a good learning lesson. So yeah. Oh, Darby.
Do you want me to ask my sister and see if she can speak? She, for those who don't know, she's at the third year law school, so.
At Mitchell Hamlin.
She's never focused, but he said in terms of like the application and like law school process, and then
It probably wouldn't be until next semester, fall semester, because I already have these people for the next meetings, unless we wanted to schedule like a separate thing with her. Yeah,
I do that,
so yeah.
or like 5:30. I mean, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just, yeah, you let her know and then you let me know and then we'll figure it out. Yeah, so that is cool. And then also Pat Dene is on Eurospring right now. He's in Europe right now. And I think it's about like 11 or 12 p.m. there. So that is why he's probably not going to be at these meetings for the next month. I think he comes back April 15th is what he said. So yeah, we will be without Pat, and then also we're gonna try to schedule the metro area law school visits. That will be in the fall. And we will also hopefully get some SAFAC funding for that, so it will be free for us. Yeah. Trying to think. Have any of you guys used Teams before, Microsoft Teams? Okay. I thought about making a Teams chat, but does email work fine? Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think that's about everything that I have. Unless anybody has any final thoughts. Yeah. And you guys are free to go a little early today. And I will see you guys on March 25th. Same room, same time. Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good night. Bella, can you send me, like a picture of you and like a little, I don't my New Jersey, so I can post it on the Instagram?
Yeah, I can do that. And do you know, we just want to meet up, because I gotta know more about what duties I can do.
Yeah.
How about?
Yeah, let me check my calendar. Let me unplug this. Ugh. And I'll end this.